We often measure our relationship readiness by external factors, the degrees, the career, the dream house. Even though these things are great to have, it's usually the internal things that really determine if we are truly ready for a happy and healthy relationship. Are we healed from past hurt? Have we strengthened ourselves spiritually? Do we know who we are as a person? Do we have a mutuality mindset? Ready for a Relationship, the self-growth guide to internal readiness, addresses all of these questions. For more information, go to www.readyforrelationship.com. We often measure our relationship readiness by external factors, the degrees, the career, the dream house. Even though these things are great to have, it's usually the internal things that really determine if we are truly ready for a happy and healthy relationship. Are we healed from past hurt? Have we strengthened ourselves spiritually? Do we know who we are as a person? Do we have a mutuality mindset? Ready for a Relationship, the self-growth guide to internal readiness, addresses all of these questions. For more information, go to www.readyforrelationship.com.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Ready for Relationship Live. I'm your host, A.B. Bracewell. I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us and join this important conversations that we're going to have tonight. I see a couple of people already in here. I see Andrea. How you doing, Andrea? I see Shahid. Please, as you come in, let us know who's joining and where you're joining from, so we can make this a group conversation. I know I do have some panelists on tonight, but as always, I like to share your comments. We like to answer questions from the group. We like to answer the questions from the viewers, and we want everybody to be a part of the conversation. So, as I said, this is Ready for Relationship Live, and if you've seen the show before, you know that the show was originated from a book that I wrote, and if you haven't seen it before, now you know. A few months ago, I came out with a book entitled Ready for Relationship. And in that book, I spoke about the 4 different areas of life that we need to really pay attention to focus on when we're preparing to be in a happy and a healthy relationship. A lot of the times when we're thinking about being in a relationship, or when we say that we are ready to be in a relationship, we focus on a lot of those external factors, like I got the degree, I have my dream job, I got my credit score right, I got my dream house, I got my car, and now I think I'm ready. But then there's a lot of times we ignore some of those internal factors that might, matter a lot more than the external. I'm not saying that the external doesn't matter, because they do, but there's those internal things, those character things, those emotional things that we tend to overlook and jump into relationships, and then we end up being in a cycle of negative and toxic relationships at times. In the book, I speak about 4 different areas. One is the importance of healing from past hurt. The other one is the importance of developing your relationship with God, or growing spiritually. The third part I speak about is the importance of knowing yourself as a person and an individual. And the fourth part that I speak about in the book is developing a mutuality mindset. And I think the topic that we have tonight goes along well with that 4th area of developing a mutuality mindset. Tonight, we're going to be talking about dating with children. As always, we like to talk about topics that are relevant, that are real, and we always keep it respectful. So whether you have children, or whether you are an individual that's dating someone with a child, because when we hit a certain age, a certain stage of life, the likelihood that we might have a child, or someone that we meet might have a child, definitely rises. So I think this conversation that we're going to have tonight can touch those that have children and that's on the dating scene, and those that are single and looking to date. Because the chances are you might meet someone with a child and you might have some of the questions that we're going to answer tonight. You might have some of the thoughts that we're going to express tonight, and so I just want you to be a part of the conversation. So I see Shayna, how you doing from Indiana? Andrea, Arkansas. Charlene, how you doing? Having a fantastic show. Thank you. So without further ado, what I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce my very, very, very special guest for tonight. So all of these people I've either worked with, talked to, developed a friendship with, a relationship with, and I tell you these are probably a group of some of the most fantastic people that I had the pleasure of getting to know and work with, even right here through Facebook. The first individual that I'm going to introduce to you is Takima Howe. Takima, she owns a company. She runs a company which is called Brave. And she's going to explain exactly what she do. But what I know what she did for me was amazing. She basically takes your dream, takes your vision, and turns it into a business. She took my book, created a workbook, a presentation, where I have the ability to go out and do workshops and actually teach from my book. So I had the pleasure of not only getting to know her, but working with her. And she's also a mother, but I'll let her introduce herself when I add her to the stream. My next guest is Leisha Michelle. Leisha, she's just one of the most kind-hearted, friendly, most supportive person that I know. Anytime I'm doing an event or if I'm doing something, she's always encouraging me, supporting me. She is a mother of a few beautiful kids, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know Leisha and probably seen her always posting her kid because she's a proud mother indeed. And my third guest, and I just have to really thank this brother, Omar Lyles, Dr. Omar Lyles. He hopped on last minute. I had someone else that was going to join and they couldn't join, and I reached out to my brother and he decided to hop on and join the conversation. Omar is the founder and CEO of the Agape Love Network, and he just does a great job with connecting singles, teaching about godly relationships, godly love. He's been doing this for a very long time. He's one of the brothers that inspire me to do what I do. So let me add them all to the stream. I want you guys to say hi, give them a wave, give them a thumbs up, send them some hearts. Hello. How's everybody doing? Tonight?
Good.
Okay, well, I know I didn't probably do justice with the introductions, so please, introduce yourself. We'll start with Takima.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Hey. My name is Takima House. I'm originally from the Bronx, New York, but I currently live here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been here for 3.5 years. As AB said, I am the founder and creator of The Brave Life, teaching you to be bold, resilient, authentic, victorious, vulnerable, and empowered in the midst of life's chaos. And then I also teach you the tools and strategies how to live unapologetically by faith, okay? And teaching you godly principles to help you to live the best life you can here on earth, God's way. I'm also an author of 5 books and counting, and I run 2 companies, Bold Creatives, which is what I use, what we, AB and I worked together on his project, which was amazing. I loved it. I hope I get to work with you more and collaborate with you more because you're a really, really awesome guy. And I also run the Lit Lab, which is a creative writing and story development studio for kids and teens. So that is who I am. That is what I do. And I'm also a mom to a 9-year-old who thinks she's 19 and probably my mom too. So
Thank you. Thanks for joining and being a part of the broadcast, Takima. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
having
it.
me. No
No
problem
problem
at all.
All right. Leisha, you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Very low. It's very low. Very, very low.
You can't hear me? Oh yeah, you're kind of low.
Yeah, it's really low. Lord, open the airwaves, Jesus, Felicia, please.
You just muted yourself. All right. Well, maybe it's your headphones. Yeah, you're low. Well, we'll see. As she works on that technical difficulty, Omar, go ahead and introduce yourself, and Alicia, just jump in. When we hear you, we'll say something.
Okay, all right. I see Alicia, she's still talking. Oh, I can hear it now. All right. Okay. Well, my name is Omar Lyles, founder and CEO of Agape Love Network. I've been working in long-term care for about like 23 years as a certified dementia practitioner. I'm also recently certified life coach, life and relationship coach. Pretty much I've been running Agape Love Network for a good 11 years, pretty much around that period. I'm also leading many community groups that deals with a lot of homeless, a lot of individuals who are in need of clothes, food, and etc. And there's so much to say, but I'm just grateful and thankful for allowing my brother to have me on tonight.
Thank you. Let's see if we can hear you, Alicia. What if you try without the headphones? Let's see if you speak directly to your device.
It's still really, really low.
We can hear you. It's just low. Unmute yourself. You're muted now.
This is making me so sad.
Don't be sad. I don't know what's I'm not sure what the issue is with the sound. You was good for a second. Are your headphones plugged? Are they plugged in? No?
They're out.
Okay.
Said they're out.
So go in and come back, go out and go back in, and then we'll see what happens. But then we'll continue with the conversation. And then she'll join us. So as you guys know, the topic tonight is dating with children. So, but not only dating with children, but as dating someone with children. So, I decided to invite a whole bunch of different perspectives on tonight. We have a mother that's dating, and we have a brother that doesn't have any children but has experience dating single mothers. And then you have me, that's a man with a child that has dated. So we have a different perspective. We have a variety of perspectives on this topic tonight. So my first question for you guys, and we'll wait for and we'll see if Alicia jump back on, is what has been your experience as far as dating as a single parent, or what has been your experience dating a single parent, from whatever perspective or whatever side of the coin you're on?
Okay.
Want to go first?
You want to go first? Oh, me? Okay. Okay. Well, my experience dating with children has definitely been interesting. So, the first experience I've had, I dated someone that did not have children, and that was a little bit of an adjustment, because the last relationship I was in was the first relationship I had with my daughter. And so I kind of went about it. Like, I didn't have a daughter at first. Like, I was like, I'm just gonna date it, and then I'll be like, hey, I got a child. But then I realized that as time went on, that it was important. It's important for me to understand that men who don't have children and they date someone with children, sometimes they can feel like they're coming second, or they may feel like they feel intimidated by the father, especially if you have a pretty decent relationship with the father. As with myself, my daughter's father is not as active in her life, but we have great communication, and it's not something that I fought for, but it was something that I required, because I grew up without my father, and I was determined, if I was to have a child, my goal was not to be a mother without a husband, but it is what it is. But it was always my goal to have my daughter's or my child's father in their life, and I wanted them to know who that person was. And so in the beginning, it was very difficult, because my ex kept thinking that, I wanted to be with him again. And I was just like, if I wanted to be with him, do you see me? We would be together. Okay. So it's not that serious. So just having to constantly have those conversations, and then also letting them know that we are a package deal. You know what I mean? Like, if you want me, she comes with me, So over time, the relationship got better, because he started to understand what I required and what those boundaries were. But it was very hard at first. My second relationship, he has many children. So I was like, at first I was like, ooh, that's a lot of people. Okay. But unfortunately and fortunately, he was just divorced. So
You
they were
mind me
separated
asking
and
how
all
many
that.
is many?
Huh?
Do you mind me asking how many is many?
I told you it was a team. Okay. 5. Okay. 5. But listen,
Let's start in 5. Okay.
5.
Okay.
5. But the 5 was all from one woman, because it was his ex-wife. So that gave me comfort. Okay. Because if it was like 2, 3 women, I was like, nah, bruh, we can stay friends, because no. So unfortunately, because of the way the divorce was, it was like the kids, was all with her. And so I met him when he was in transition of, like, really, getting himself in order, and his life was going pretty good at the time. So, so it was good there. That wasn't bad until he started to try to rebuild with the children, and then his family started to get in the way, and then it just started to get really messy. So my thing now is, as I am now preparing myself for my husband, okay, I have a 2-kid max, because it's a lot.
What do you mean by 2-kid max?
I mean, I really would rather date someone that doesn't have more than a team, no more teams. I mean, it needs to be a duo or a trio, maybe. Because that's a lot,
Okay.
So.
Can y'all hear me? Or no?
Lisa,
yes, Lisa, yes.
My daughter saved the day, so kudos to Amaya.
Yes, kudos. Right. Yo, these kids be helpful. That's the other part. They be helpful. We need them.
All right, so Alicia, you can jump right in it then. The first question is, what has been your experience dating as a single parent?
Okay, so my experience, I'll say a few things. First, wow, I don't know what that was, guys. I'm having a lot of difficulties. It for me primarily is like non-existent, because I'm so busy as a parent. So the 2-3 experiences that I did have, it was difficult because I do have 4 children, so we are a team. And Takima was saying,
That's okay.
Okay. And so it kind of comes across that I have to be serious really quickly because I don't have time to play games. You know, I have 4 other lives involved, and we're all, you know, like a package deal. So a lot of the times when guys approach me, I could tell off the bat if they're serious, you know. So my experience has been okay. I have had men tell me, oh, you know, that's fine that you have kids, but will you have another one? And I'm always put in a position, well, I'd rather date a man that's already settled, that already has kids, that doesn't desire me to have more children, because that's still up in the air for me. So hi Kendra. Hi Kendra. Yeah, so I'm pretty much set in life, and a lot of guys sometimes they look at you and they see you and you're a mom and you have children, and they think that you're kind of desperate and you'll settle for anything. And that's a factor in there. Like, oh, you know, well, she needs this, she needs that. And then when I come back and say, well, I don't really need that, I come across as too independent or too strong, or she don't need nobody. Look, she's carrying it all by herself. So there's so many aspects of this dating with children. So many, I would say double the amount of you know, aspects of someone who is just a single person and who is dating and who doesn't have any children.
Okay. All right. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into some of the things that you said. You know, I keep a mental note of the comments, but I'm gonna move on to Omar real quick. So Omar, you don't have any kids, but no. You have dated. You're on the other side of
Yes.
So what has been your experience dating a single parent?
Wow. You know what? Each one was different from another. I didn't date a lot of people with children, but I would say a good like 3. But never been like in a real long-term relationship with someone that had kids. But my experience, my experience actually was this. Some ladies are very protective. And I respect that. I respect any lady that doesn't show her kids to me until a certain amount of time, based on her preference of when it is the right time for me to introduce them. Now, me, I love kids. I get attached to kids really, really super fast, you know, because I love kids, you know, like when I see kids running around and playing and stuff like that, the first thing I want to do, hey, let's play football, let's do this, or, you know, that's your little daughter and stuff like that. I love kids. Besides senior citizens, because I work in long-term care, so I love senior citizens like 75 or older, you know, like the little old ladies who be knitting stuff. I think they're cute and adorable, so that's why I like being around them a lot. But yes, I do. I love older people. So I love little kids. So I try to give a woman space to when she would have it in her mind when it's the right time for me to actually meet her. And sometimes she may not want her a significant other or someone that she's dating to meet her children, because they're trying to be protective at the same time. So and I respect those kinds of things too. And a lot of times when I'm dating, if I'm dating someone, I'm protecting myself as well, because I don't want the kids to be attached to me. Because one time I was going out with this young lady and she had like 3 kids and they loved me. So I felt kind of bad that it really didn't take off in the direction, because I kept thinking about the kids, and they may say like, oh, well, where's Omar? And you know, I don't want them to be attached to me where they start calling me like pops and stuff like that. I don't want that, you know, because kids get very attached to men. And a lot of times women don't want men to keep trafficking through their house all the time too, because the kids get attached to the father. So I try to play it safe when I'm around children, you know, because there's so many things going on in these houses, and the mothers may have a boyfriend, and you really don't know his background that much, and he could perhaps be like a child molester, or maybe he was an abuser in his former relationship. So she would have to be careful about who she allows in her space. And so I think that there's a specific time that, and I think everybody just went out just now on my end. But there's a specific time where I think that is conducive for me and her, whoever I would be dating, that I would meet their children and I would honor and respect that. So that's pretty much my experience. And then I dated some ladies with some bad kids, some really, really bad kids. Like when you walk in the door, a football, toy coming out.
Baby,
I've been there. I've been there. So and I've dated some good kids. Some real baby kids. But
babies.
Yeah, I just watched it the other day too.
What's funny for me, being a man with a child, and being out on the dating scene, or once upon a time being on the dating scene. I'm not on the dating scene anymore, but what I guess was probably the difference for me is that I was not the primary caretaker of my child. So having a child and dating didn't really get in my way too much based on that, as far as not having the time or the ability to date the way I wanted, other than the times when I had my child, had my son, and I didn't have him the majority of the time, so it made it a lot easier. So I'm sure that's a little bit different from the mothers on the panel that has your child all the time and have to figure out free time, find babysitters and things like that.
I'm side-eyeing you.
Yeah, well, I understand the side eye. As a dad, I didn't have to navigate it as much. Not to say that I didn't, because I'm very involved in my son's life, so I do have him often, but I'm not the primary caretaker. So I can still, be in these dating streets if I wanted to. Unlike I guess somebody that's a primary caretaker. So I guess I'll go a little bit more into my experience later, but I'm just pointing out that one difference that might be present being a father with a child opposed to being a mom with a child. Now, France asked a very good question, and I wanted to post it before it scrolls by. She says, I don't consider children as baggage. Why do some guys like to refer to our children as baggage?
That part.
I'll let you take it, Kima. Go ahead, take it.
I mean, I can't really talk for the guys, because they definitely, some of them are out here acting like this is like a Louis situation. No, I mean, they do cost that much. I ain't gonna lie about that. But what I will say is, as I had to learn, and this is, being very transparent for me, I suffered with postpartum for 2 years. So I had to get to a place where I actually wanted my child. You know what I'm saying? And it took a lot of like therapy and stuff like that, and just me just working through the fact that my life is not over, and Victoria, my daughter, is not a burden. She is truly a blessing, and so, but I had to make that mindset shift. So I think it has a lot to do with how the mothers respond and react about their own kids, and also in having conversations with men. If a woman is acting like their kids are getting on their nerves constantly, or it's a lot, I got these kids and I like you, but if it's always sounding like something is wrong, or it's too much for the mom, men are gonna be like, well, she act like her. Listen, you got too much. And that's when for me, I feel like that's when they'll be like, you got too much baggage, or you got too much stuff with you, So I think it has a lot to do with how the mother or how the woman is talking about her child, or if you don't really mention your child at all, as Omar said before, let a guy know that you have a child. You know what I'm saying? If you try to skirt around it, it sounds like you don't really want that role in the beginning. And for me, I understand that, but at the end of the day, you can't return to sender. They here. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, navigate, and you just have to really, tell yourself, this is not the end of the world for me. I just have to readjust, But for me, I think that's probably why some men probably think of our kids as baggage, or think of other women's kids as baggage. Because, I mean, if my child gonna be a baggage, she gonna be a nice Louis bag. Okay.
Birkin bag.
Exactly. So, but she's not baggage.
Omar, what's your thoughts on that? She said, why do guys say that women come with baggage, or a woman's child is baggage?
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Only two guys on here. We gotta take that question.
Right. All right. I think that men say that because of responsibility and the things that they will have to, the things that they will have to take on, the responsibility that they will have to take on, because especially from someone who never had kids. Then there's the financial piece. They've never, especially if they've never had any kind of siblings or never taken care of anything in their lives, so they will consider it as baggage. And a lot of the teen problems, that kind of thing, especially from someone who has children already. If there was a guy who already had kids, so he pretty much know how to actually deal with that already. So he's coming in with the mindset, oh, this would be like a piece of cake. I already got 1 or 2 kids, so I can identify with knowing how to raise children. So this is why they call it baggage. Yeah, that's why many of them pretty much just call it baggage. And so they just coming from a place where they've never dealt with kids, maybe not in their whole entire life. So that kind of space is very, very brand new to them. Whether the kids are good or bad, but I can tell you about my experience with one of the young ladies that I was talking about that had children, right? One of the kids was actually a teen runaway, and the son was like really, really out there. And so she really wanted me to be like someone that can be like the person that will like inspire and mentor her son, because he was out on the streets a lot. And the daughter really liked me too. And she was really looking for that kind of person, but she was just so far out there that she probably would have needed counseling and things like that. Now imagine a man, right? Coming into that relationship, he has no experience with children. He never had a conversation with a young lady, or never had a dealt with any young man or mentored young man. And matter of fact, maybe he never had a father in his spiritual life to know how to deal with young men. So they're coming from that space. So that's why they actually call it baggage, because there's a great responsibility hovering over their head, and they just don't know how to handle it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Can I interject? Go ahead, Adama.
No, I would agree with a lot with Omar said. I think I would never use the word baggage. It just has a negative connotation to it. But I guess we do look at it as the responsibility that comes with children. And I think it's the responsibility that a lot of guys might be afraid of, or might be not be used to, and then automatically see it as something negative. And I think just in our community, it just we automatically think that a single mom or will come with some. Let me just I'm stuttering because I'm trying to word myself right. We automatically think that it's going to come with some negativity. So that's why they use the word baggage. It's not true. It doesn't apply to everybody. But I think in our community, it's been so taught, or that's been a narrative for so long that if you meet a single mother, if you don't know her situation at all, the first thought from a lot of guys that never been in that situation will think that it's going to come with some negativity, whether it's baby daddy drama or bad kids or something like that. So that's why they probably use that word baggage. And for a guy that's probably have kids of his own, or a guy that's dated a single parent and know that narrative is not true, probably won't use that word. We'll probably say, it's true that they come with some responsibility. You can't deny that. But when you use the word baggage, that's just put a negative spin on it. That's not always true. Yeah, Alicia, you wanted to say something about that?
Yeah, I wanted to say, speaking freely, the word baggage, as you said, there's a negative connotation attached to that word baggage. But let's be real. No one goes and has a child and says, yeah, it's my life's goal or my life's dream to be a single parent. No one does that. So when you see a single parent or a single mom with children, you kind of see that there's some brokenness there. There's some brokenness there. It might represent a broken home, a divorce. It might represent an absentee father, or like you said, baby daddy drama or baby mama drama. So when I used to really get offended when I would hear that baggage. How dare you? My kids are not baggage. My kids are blessings, and we're the full package. And if you don't want to come with this, then too bad for you. You're lost. I had that whole attitude. But as I got older, I realized that we all come with some sort of emotional trauma. You understand? So when people see a single mom and they see her with her children, it's like there goes the visible trauma that happened. Now, they don't know if she's healed from that. They don't know if her and the father are on good terms. They don't know unless they get to know her. They don't know if he's in their life, if he's paying his child support, if he spends time with his kids, if the children are emotionally stable. But when you do see a single parent, you do say, oh, it's baggage, not the children. So I can't get offended anymore. Like my children are not a negative. They are not baggage, but there's something that comes attached to that, such as brokenness. Am I bitter? Am I angry? Am I in need of money? Sometimes I think guys assume, like, when you have a child or children, that you want to use them. You want to use them to be a father. They don't get to know you to understand, hey, my kids have a very tight, close relationship with their dad. He's very involved. And that goes into another subject I wanted to touch on. Sometimes men are jealous of the children or and the children's father. I had one experience when a guy, he didn't have any kids, so he just couldn't understand why I poured so much of my time, attention, and affection into my kids. And I felt like he viewed my kids as competition. So, I had to dead that. But and in his eyes, they might be baggage because he can't have me all to himself, But for a mature male, he might see maybe there's some emotional baggage there because she has kids and she's alone.
I definitely too. So let's switch it up a little bit. My next question will be: what are some of the good things? What are some of the best parts of dating as a single parent? Or what has been some of the benefits or best part of dating a single parent? Omar? I mean, that's questions for everybody, but of course, that's come from a different perspective.
Being that I don't have any children, but the best part about dating a single parent that has children, because, and this is just coming from me personally, being that I always wanted a family, I love the idea of just going out with the kids, and just having that that bondmanship with the children in of itself. Um, uh, I always wanted to be like a mentor to like a young lady or a son or something of that nature. I think it's more of the bondmanship that I had. While I look at it as a space for bondmanship, other men may look at it as a crutch, or like you're in chains because you indebted yourself to someone that has children. And I come from the perspective that there are children that do want somebody in their life. And it's very rare that you see guys that actually do that, who desire someone who may or may not have children. I think that the good side of it is that you can be a positive example to them, because once they see, because there are a lot of children who don't have a father figure in their life or don't have anyone that could share any kind of positive vibe with them and can lead them in their life with purpose. And so the positive thing is that there were times when I've spoken to the young man who I had formerly gone out with one time. Well, the mother, not the son. And well, I've spoken to him a couple of times, and he understood a lot of things. I said, you know what? You really have to go to school, man. You know, how you want to be a police officer, or you want to do this when you grow up. You know, how are you going to do this? Because you know, if you break the law, you're going to go to jail. So if you keep breaking the law, you know you have to have a clean record in order to become a police officer, because they're going to want you to have any kind of criminal record. So what does it affect you now? It's going to affect you later when you get older. Don't you want to go to college, man? So those are the kinds of things that I got a chance to have with the young man in whom that I had spoke with. Not only that, I do that with a lot of young people, a lot of young men who I know, who ladies who have sons. So that's really like the norm for me. So that's like the kinds of experiences that I have with single parents, you know, with children.
Getting that fulfillment of being
Yeah,
a role model.
yes,
Great.
yes.
Yeah. What about you, Takima? What are the
Well,
best parts of dating as a single parent?
well, one thing is I always, at this point where I'm at now, I don't view myself as a single parent. I'm a single woman with a child. I never really call myself a
Ooh.
single mom, because, and
All
I'm
right.
very big on what I speak over my life and what I want to, and what I speak into my life. So, as a single woman who is a parent, a mom, a parent, one of the best things I can say, and somebody had mentioned that their daughter kind of like was giving the guy a hard time and all of that. And so for me, I have a similar experience as in my last relationship. My daughter was very vocal about things that she noticed in the relationship, and the relationship unfortunately was abusive in some ways. And so there was a time when she said to me, "Mommy, I don't like this house. I don't like how he treats you. I don't like how he talks to you. I think we need to leave. I think we need to move." Because at the time we were living together. And so I looked at her, and she was like 4 at the time. She's 9 now. And I was just like, wow. And it really made me look at myself and look at what I was allowing, because I at that point I was trying to make it work, and I was overlooking a lot of things. And it was because of what she said at such a young age that she saw, that made me feel like I need to protect. It's not even about me at this point. It's about making sure she's in a place where she feels safe and where she feels healthy. And so we ended up moving to Atlanta. So that was really, so that for me was like, wow, it's almost like God gave me someone that could give me a fresh eyes in situations like, sis, I know you the mother, but girl, this ain't working out for real. And so that's one. And then the other thing about dating with and having a child is it can be fun. It can be fun. I like when the guy that I'm dating wants to include her and wants to have time together and things like that. Like wants to take me on dates, but also will have dates that will include her. Or there'll be moments where Victoria will ask or suggest to go places as a family, and that means a lot to me because my daughter is very, very discerning. And so she'll be, she'll ask about things that builds what I know I want for myself and that she wants it as well. So that makes it fun for me sometimes. And so yeah, those two things makes it fun for me in dating with a child. So
Okay, great. What about you, Alicia?
Okay, so my dating life is non-existent at this point. Hint, hint,
You
anybody
dated.
watching?
You dated before.
Anybody watching? It's been a long time, Adama. But anyway,
I love you, sis. I love that. I love
you got
it.
some makeup today, but I would say the benefits of dating with children. There's so many because as moms, a lot of times, our children they show us how valuable we are just in the way that they love us, in the way that they care for us. When they see that we're down, I had a situation a few years ago because my son, he's 13 years old, and I was very, very down and very depressed. And I can just remember the care that he gave me, the way that he noticed, Mommy, you're not drinking your coffee how you like it anymore. I was just taking coffee black. And he's like, put a little sugar or cream, anything, however you like it. My son coming and comforting me. My daughter's noticing if a change in me. So it makes me very, very cautious to proceed and just take anything, because when the mother's heart is broken, it trickles into the household with the children, and it sets a tone for my kids. When I'm hurting, my children are hurting. And so because I don't want that, I'm very careful. Whoever I allow into my life. Also, when it comes to dating with children, I want to respect their dad too. So as far as the man meeting my kids, he probably won't meet my kids until I say, okay, this is really serious. And I'll tell my ex-husband, there's a man in my life now. I want you to meet him. He's going to be around your kids if it comes to that point. But so far, there's only been one man to do that. And, we were engaged. But and he met my kids, and it was wonderful. And the kids really, really liked him. They really, actually, they loved him. So it just dating with kids, it just adds so much weight, so much value to the process. It's not something that you take lightly. It's not something that you say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to go on a few dates. This guy can come over. And then, when that happens, and you're just out there doing anything, eventually you get hurt. So with children, you're cautious, you're careful, you're prayerful, you're praying through the process. You're including, God into your dating life, because you're like, you know what, whatever I do is going to affect my kids. So at this point, my kids, I feel like my children, they played a role in they probably saved me from a lot of heartache. They probably saved me from a lot of miserable breakups, because I'm not going to go in unless I can seriously see something happening with you in the future.
Yes, very true.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Like, as far as when I compare like my dating then to dating now, it's totally different after I had my son. Like I did become a lot more intentional with the people that I entertained. My whole selection process changed as far as the type of women I talked to, approach, or even gave any time of day, because now my criteria, a child was a part of that criteria. So, when I didn't have anybody looking up to me that I was responsible for, I could be out here running wild any way I wanted to. But once I had a child, it really changed my selection process in a way that I approach dating and relationships and everything. So I totally agree with that, Leisha. Like that's a benefit, and that definitely was like a benefit for me, because stuff I was doing before I had a son was not, it wasn't helping me any. So the changes that I made when I had a kid definitely was a benefit, and I think that's probably one of the best parts for me, as far as dating with a child. It changed the way I think and approach relationships altogether.
Yeah.
So y'all kind of touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to go a little bit more into this question. What is a good time for someone that you're dating to meet the kids? Omar, you kind of touched on it. Leisha, you mentioned it a little bit. To Kima, what do you think? What's a good time for someone that you're dating to meet the children, to introduce them?
I don't know.
Good
I
answer.
ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna flex. I do not know. Well, let me not say that. I think the best time for you to introduce your child is kind of along the lines with what Leisha said, is when you know that it's going in the direction that you want it to go into, and the intentions that you want for this relationship. But I also, and one thing I've learned, so this is me in preparation for, my real husband. And one thing that I will go into this next phase is that I will definitely have a conversation with my daughter. One, she's older at this point, and two, I want her to tell me, not what kind of man she wants me to have, but I want to kind of get her feedback on how she felt about my previous relationship, because she's a part of that. You know what I mean? And I know with my current / last relationship, it taught me that I need to not only include her in my decision-making process, but I need to be very conscious of how soon something happens. Now, I wasn't like, we met and then like the next day he was here, or he met her or whatever. It took a while, but it was still, I think for me, it was like, I need to be sure that this is going in the direction that I need to go in. So he can meet her, in my opinion, I think give it at least 3 months. I mean, you could know about the kid, don't be acting like you don't got no child now. Don't do that. But, I think 3 months is a good gauge to see whether you're going to go forward or whether it's just going to taper off. And so I think 3 months, 2-3 months is a good, because you want to get to know the person for yourself first too, and I think 3 months is a really good time frame to really see this person's character, their consistency, what they're about, where they're going in their life. You know what I mean? Like, you really got to see that for yourself. I feel like, this is no shade to you brothers, because y'all my brothers, but I feel like the representative be showing up for like a good 6-9 months. You know what I'm saying? So
9 months?
The representative
be good.
Yeah, the representative be present. The real person don't show up until like month 10. You're like, oh my God. I'm not waiting that long, but I think 3 months is good for you to really kind of see. And then it shouldn't be like every weekend or every day they're seeing the person, but at least letting them know that they're there and that this is something you're building on. I think is a good time.
Okay. What Omar, Alicia, what do you think? What's a good time to introduce the kids, or what's a comfortable time for you, Omar, to meet the kids?
You know what? Being that I'm not on that side, I could say that it's based upon it would fall into her hands. The ball would be in her hands. But in the meantime, I believe that it's about winning her trust and knowing if she can trust you around her kids, because it's going to take time. Now, if you're a born again Christian, you're going to be led by the Spirit. And when how the time and the actual place of because timing is the most important factor that's going to be played here, you know, because she has to look to whether if her kids are actually going to be willing to accept him in their life. Because some parents are like, well, if it's either me or the kids, it's going to be me and the kids, like as a package, like if you don't accept the kids, then you can't have me, so it's like that too. So it's really about that person earning their trust, earning her trust, to trust you enough to allow her around her kids, like I was talking about earlier, about how there are guys who have backgrounds who put up this front that they're so good and they're so wonderful and nice to the kids, and next thing you know, if you ain't doing your research enough, because they hide stuff very well, they can be child molesters, they can be abusers. Even leading all the way up to the marriage, you still may not know until you actually get on that other side and be like, oh, wow, I never knew he was like this, until somebody comes to it. Did you know that used to be my uncle and he used to do this and do that, and everything comes out of nowhere. So that really falls in to her hands, because I can't really tell you when is the actual right time for me to meet her kids. I would give her that decision of when. And when that decision comes, that's when you know that you have actually arrived at that point where she may feel that it's safe enough for you to be around her.
Well, let me ask a quick follow-up question to that, Omar. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought that it wasn't the right time to meet the kids? Maybe it was too early and you wasn't comfortable with it. Like, so if you totally leave it up to her, and you're not comfortable with meeting the kids at this point, do you just go along and say, okay, since I'll leave it up to you, I'm going to meet the kids? Or do you say, oh, I think it's a little bit too early, you might be moving too fast, I'm not ready to meet the kids?
Yeah, actually, that had actually happened to me before. And this has happened to a young lady who I felt like she was trying to rush everything. It was more of a factor of her trying to rush a relationship, after you have known someone for like 3 or 4 weeks and everything like that, and you just got into that relationship and you're not really in a relationship, you're like dating. And I'm like, well, man, this is moving kind of fast, like you want me to meet the mother, the children and all this stuff like that. And that's when you notice that they're moving too fast. So I did let her know that, you have to take your time with this. And eventually that didn't work out, but I knew off the hand in that experience that sometimes too early is too early. It is not safe for the kids. Me, I have enough sense to know when things are being rushed and when things are just too downright too early for me to be seeing her with her children around. One young lady who I was just talking to, she wanted me to pick up her kids from school. I said, well, I can't do that. Just doing tasks that I think that was just too early for me to have that kind of relationship with the kid. And that's why I think that's why I was saying earlier that kids get very attached to any kind of male figure if they like them. So to me, it basically came down to the rush of you just being around their kids. So for me, the timing will have to actually be in her hands.
Okay. Good. Understood. That's definitely understood. Alicia, before you respond to that, quick comment from Kendra. She says, this is always a tricky one for me. I don't want to introduce too soon, but at the same time, don't want to get too serious before knowing if he's a good fit for both me and my daughter. The good thing is that my daughter wants me to date and get married. That's a good comment. Yeah, that's definitely a balancing act, especially if we say that, our kids have good discernment or good intuition on who we're dating. And if we wait too long and then we introduce them after we've developed feelings and emotions for this person, and we introduce them, and the child's like, I don't really care for this person. What do you do? But that's just a rhetorical question, unless you want to answer.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't think I have a response for that. Thank you, Kendra, though, for that comment. Though that was pretty cool. Definitely.
Omar, I know you couldn't stay the whole time, and we'll be wrapping up soon. So, are you still good?
Yeah, I'm still good. I'm gonna wait for another 10-15 minutes. So
Okay,
yeah, I was gonna ask that because it's 8:33 and
yeah,
she likes to take advantage when I'm on the computer. She be like, "Ooh, yes, bedtime later tonight."
I just wanted to add to what Kendra was saying really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Kendra made a really good point because I feel like this is a gray area. When does the man meet your kids is totally up to you. It depends on a lot of things. The ages of the kids. If you have really small kids, I feel like the man, maybe he should meet them a little bit sooner because he will be helping to raise the children. Let's be real. Even if the kids have a dad, if this is your husband and you have a 5-year-old, this kid is this is your stepdad. But, I have older kids. I have 17-year-old child, a daughter looking at colleges already. I have another who's about to be 16. So the relationship between, if I were to meet a man in court and we were to marry, would be completely different if he met my daughter when she was 3. So definitely there's a lot of factors that go into that, and I would say just pray about it. And as Omar mentioned, being led by the Holy Spirit, when is a good time for this potential spouse? Because it should never be he's a boyfriend, he's okay, I'll keep him around for 3 months and he's like bonding with your kids, as we mentioned before. It should be I see marriage in our future. When is a good time to introduce you into the household, and what role are you going to be playing? If he's going to be playing the role of dad and husband, I feel like he needs to meet your kids before that commitment, because he might say, you know what, it's too much for me. I can't really, I thought I could take it, but I can't do it. When they're older, I mean, hey, you're not going to come into my 17-year-old daughter's life and be like, hey, girl, go fold your laundry. She's raised already. She's who she is.
Yeah, I want to piggyback up on that too, because sometimes a man may want to know how he's going to be able to interact with the children. And to me, it's like a case-by-case basis for each lady. But when you are interacting with like young children, you may want to see how you can interact with them so that the children can actually get used to you. So in that circumstance, I think that's good as well, because when you're entering a relationship and when you know that you're gonna somewhere down the road that you have this thing to where you may want to lead to marriage, you're going to be talking about how you're going to be interacting with the children as far as the discipline, because sometimes some mothers may not want him to discipline the children the way that he may want to. So there's a lot of factors in there. How are you going to educate them? How are you going to discipline them? Or what are the type of activities that you're going to be engaged with them with? So sometimes it's good to get them early on, and then sometimes it may not. So I think wisdom plays a best part. And Nisha was right. Prayer is probably one of the biggest keys, because you're going to be relying on the Holy Spirit to lead you in that area.
Number one, yes, the Holy Spirit and prayer. Like, listen, if the Holy Spirit is not chatting with you daily on that situation, there's a problem. Okay. So, and I've learned that now, and the beauty in having the Holy Spirit is, even when you make a wrong decision, or you go off your emotions and not off of what God is leading you to do, the Holy Spirit will definitely help you to retract and do better the next time. So, the Holy Spirit in prayer is primary. I mean, I think before you even think about having the person, Holy Spirit, what do you think about this? You think they're ready to meet? Have that conversation, because it's necessary. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Good, great points from everybody. I really appreciate it. So my last question before we disconnect would be like, what advice would you give a single parent, or what do you call it, Takima, a single woman that has happened to
I'm a
have a
single
child,
woman, yes, with a child.
that has a child with a child? What advice would you give to someone that's trying to navigate this whole parenthood and dating situation?
Well, the first thing is the first initial advice I would give to a woman who wants to date, who's ready to date with a child, is love yourself immensely, because you don't want to be in a relationship because you're looking for something outside of yourself and outside of God, obviously, but outside of yourself, you don't want to do that. And that's the mistake that I made twice, that I didn't know that I made, but now that I know, the way I love myself now is I can't even accept anything lower than how I love myself. And so that would be the first thing. Two, obviously making sure that God is leading you and the Holy Spirit is completely surrounding the entire situation. And three, really, and I hate to say it like this, but this is the only way I can say it. Have a true list, not a list of, oh, he got to be this, but have a vision for your relationship. Write it out. What is the vision that you have for your relationship? What do you want to see flourish? What seeds do you want to plant in your relationship, and what do you want to see grow within that relationship? If you have that in your mind, it will be so much easier for you to weed out who's not for you, because that is something that I knew what I kind of wanted for myself, but what is the vision that I have for my relationship and eventually my marriage? And if the guy that I come across doesn't, not that he doesn't match, has to tack off everything, but if the primary things are not met, I know initially I'm not moving forward, because I'll be wasting my time. And I honestly, at this point, I ain't got no time to waste at all. I'm not trying to rush in a relationship, but I'm not trying to waste myself or my time in a relationship that I know is not going to yield the results or yield the crop and the harvest that I want to have. So, one, make sure that you love yourself. And loving yourself obviously is loving God, knowing the Holy Spirit, having God be sovereign in your life and not just savior. And definitely loving yourself to the fullest. The second thing is having that list of that vision for your life and your marriage and your relationship and what it is that you want. I forgot what the third thing was that quick, but you want to have those elements. There was one more thing that I wanted to say. Please, Holy Spirit, let me remember. Let somebody else go and then come back to me. But I really want to say that thing that just came to my head.
All right, Alicia, what advice would you give?
My advice would just be, I got to do it. I got to speak to my single mothers who are Christian women. My advice would be to be patient, trust God's timing. Don't try to force anything outside of the Lord's will, because you get one chance to raise your children, right? And you have a lifetime ahead of you to find or to be found by your spouse, by your husband, to be have that romantic companionship. So I would say be patient, also wait on the Lord, but waiting is not a something that you do and you just do nothing. I would say put yourself out there, keep yourself together, keep yourself up, take care of your hair, your skin, your nails, eat right, exercise, do all of these things that make you feel good. Maintain yourself, because men are very visual. So maintain yourself.
Yes.
Get the healing that you need to get. If you are bitter, if you are carrying around baggage because you're disappointed by your child's father, pray about it. Try to make peace in that relationship. If you can't make peace, because some people you just can't make peace with, give it over to God. Forgive. Be soft. because I'll just add this before I finish. I realized I was hard. I was hardened. Yes, I had a divorce. I had an engagement with someone, and they ended up passing away. I had my children. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I turned into that stereotypical hardened woman. Yeah, I don't need any help. I can't be vulnerable. I got this on my own. And like the Lord just really started dealing with me about my womanhood and how unique it is to be a woman. Even though you're a single mother, don't allow yourself to become calloused. Your hands work hard to provide for your children. You're cooking, you're cleaning, you're working, and sometimes your heart becomes hard. I would say stay soft and be patient. Wait on the Lord. Keep yourself looking good. Put yourself out there, and pray about it, and read up on the differences between just dating around aimlessly, and courtship. I would add that too.
Okay, good. Stay soft, ladies. Omar, what would you say? What advice would you give?
Wow. So with a lot of the single guys out there, I would say take your time. Take your time before you try to jump in the waters, and because a lot of guys, they just want to date the girl, and really don't care about the children. You have to make sure that this is something that you want to do, because to me, there's a lot of things at stake. There's people who are depending on you. There's children that's depending on you to be their potential father in their life. So just don't go out with a lady just because you find her attractive, or this is someone that you may want to date temporarily. If you want to go out with someone with children, make sure that you are making this long term. So that you're willing to stay in the gap, until you're ready to get married. Because they're not to say that there aren't women that's out there that just want to date, that have children. I'm speaking to the audience of men who want to be with someone that has children in their life. So as Leisha said, you got to be patient, and you also have to be led with prayer as well.
Okay. Great. I have nothing to add to that. Oh, you said all of y'all said
what I want to say.
everything. Good. I knew it was gonna come back.
So the last thing I wanted to say was, know the difference between who's your life partner and who's your soulmate. And when I say soulmate, I mean friend. That's the biggest thing, is build a friendship. Friendships are important and they last forever. And yes, you can have male friends. Adama is definitely my friend. Okay. He's my brother in Christ. And we don't talk every day, but I know if I needed to ask him something or talk to him about something personal, I could, because he's my brother. You know what I mean? And so don't be afraid to build friendships that can be basically soul partnerships, good soul ties, because there are good soul ties and there are soul ties that are just like, child, cut that off. But know the difference between a life partner, who is the person you will literally do life with, and you all's visions, purpose, everything that God has put on the inside of you goes together. And then know who's your soulmate, someone that you really can vibe with, connect with, all of that. But that comes with building a friendship. So if nothing else, build friendships with people. And like Leisha said, why am I forgetting? Don't rush into anything, but get to know people. It's nothing wrong with getting to know people, but just have that vision that you want for your life. And if that person doesn't fit for that doesn't mean you throw them away. You can still keep them. So
yeah,
ooh, that was good. I'm sorry, that was good. I know we gotta end, but that was good, because a lot of times we date, and if the person doesn't fit what we want, we cast them to the side, and you could have had a lifelong friend. So that's another topic.
Yes.
Okay. So Takima, before we disconnect, tell the people where they can connect with you, where they can find you, if they're interested in the business side of things, tell them where they can find you at.
Okay, yeah. So I am on Instagram and Facebook at Takima House. My website, same thing, www.takimahouse.com. It's going through a little bit of a change right now, but you can definitely connect with me there. I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm on Instagram for the most part, but Facebook is where I really stay. And you can also get my books on my website as well.
Great. Alicia, if someone want to connect with you and get you back in these dating streets, no, I'm just joking. But when somebody they want to connect,
yes, Adam, speak that.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. You guys can find me right here on Facebook, and I am under the same way my name is spelled right here on this broadcast, Lisha Michelle. And if you want to connect with me on Instagram, it's actually Elisha, ELISHA _ Michelle, MICHELLE _ Williams. So that's how you guys can connect. And I always love to chat. If you talk to me long enough, you're going to hear the gospel. So just warning you. If you follow me on my page, I post a lot of scriptures.
That's right.
You better give people the word.
Thank you. What about you, Omar? Where can they find you and all the great things you're doing?
Yeah, so you can follow me on our official Facebook page at Agape Love Networking, but it's actually Agape Love Network. Just type it in the search engine. You can look at our website, www.agapelovenetwork.net, or you can check me out on my personal website at Omar Lyles, the Life Coach. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. I'm also on Clubhouse as Omar Life Coach. I had to condense it. They couldn't allow me to put the whole name in it, so I had to make it Omar Life Coach. Sounds kind of odd though, but yeah. So I'm on Instagram. Agape Love Network is also on Instagram as well. We also have our app. You can look at going to the Google Play Store and just download the Agape Love Network app. So you'll find me or what I do on any one of those platforms. Also, our YouTube channel. Also, just type in Agape Love Network.
Great. Thank you once again for being on the show. Thank you to all three of you for just adding so much wisdom and your experience and so much insight in this topic of dating while dating with children or dating someone with children. It was a great conversation. I appreciate you taking out the time to be a part of it. Once again, my name is A.B. Bracewell. I am not only the host of the show, but I'm also an author. I have 2 books ready for relationship. From relational hurt to spiritual healing. This is actually the book that Takima took and created a workbook from, which I'll as soon as the world open back up fully, I'm going to use that workbook, start running workshops and all types of stuff. So yeah, so really connect with her if you want to take your book and make it to something terrific. So if there's not anything else, thank you. Check me out on YouTube at Ready for Relationship Consulting. All right, so y'all have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
All right.
Bye.